Today, we are going to talk about the Power of Paid Ads Summit. We're getting really close. We are about a month out as I record this, and the Power of Paid Ads Summit is January 14th through 16th, 2025. And I have had a good amount of questions starting to come in because it's kind of decision time. And that's probably why we are sold out of Platinum VIP tickets, which is the top ticket tier. We do still have a few remaining of VIP. We are going to put the countdown on that ticket tier soon just because that one's getting limited as well. And when I look at the first summit versus this summit, I can tell you that greater than 60% of tickets were sold after January 1st. And so we can't have more than 60% of the tickets sold because that's already the case. And we will sell out because the room is capped at 400 and we're sneaking up on it, which feels really good. So listen, I'm not surprised. I am delighted. I always am. But it's not me. It's the method. And it's why what we're not doing at the Power of Paid Ad Summit is talking all about my business and my wins. And the reason for that is because what matters to you is for you to see how this method is repeatable for completely different businesses. And the reason it's repeatable is because it is like making a cake, baking a cake. The ingredients are the same. If you want one that's a little bit sweeter, maybe add some strawberries. If you want one that's a little bit fluffier, maybe add some extra flour. But the ingredients are the same. And this method, this framework, this strategy, that is what's in store for you at the Power of Paid Ad Summit. So I had someone ask me yesterday, she said, "Hey, am I going to need to bring my laptop? Like, are we going to be setting up our campaigns at the Power of Paid Ad Summit?" We are not going to be setting up campaigns at the Power of Paid Ad Summit. And the reason for that is the same reason that if you were to go, let's say, go to your child's football game and they were four, and let's just say soccer, that's probably easier. If you were to just say, "Here's a soccer ball, go, go," they would just start running spastically. They would just go to any goal. They wouldn't pass it. They might not dribble. They might pick it up with their hands. Like if you don't explain the rules or explain anything and just say, "Go, here's the ball," they might kick it. They might get near the goal, but they don't even know why they're scoring or how much the points are. And it's just chaos. And so, what I don't want for you is for you to ever launch a single ad and not understand the strategy and the method and the why you're setting it up the way you are. And then, when you do set it up, why does the data matter? What do you need to focus on? All of that is just so critical that you think that you just want to go put the goal, ball in the goal. But what you really want is to understand the strategy so that it is a repeatable method that you can do over and over and over again. And so, one of the things that you will get to look forward to at the Power of Paid Ad Summit is hearing the strategy and the method and the frameworks that not only have worked for me. I will share what has worked for me, but I also have speakers and clients, mainly clients and speakers, that are sharing what has worked for them with paid ads. I'll share a little bit about the women you'll get to meet at the Power of Paid Ad Summit, one of which is my coach. She has had $1 million day, not $1 million year, not $1 million month, $1 million day in her business. Wouldn't you like to know how that happened? I can tell you it was influenced by paid ads. Paid ads drove people to an event, which drove people to want to buy what she has to offer because it's amazing. Okay. I have had a six-figure day in my business. Sherri, who you'll get to meet, has had a six-figure day. So you'll get to hear Macy's story, CEO or co-founder of the Sales Girls. That's my coach. You'll get to hear from Sherri Somers Bell on how she had a six-figure day and had people lining up outside her event when 30 days prior they weren't. You'll get to hear from Melissa Franks, who is a client of mine. Sherri's also a client of mine. But Melissa Franks, she has scaled companies from 50 million to 350 million. She'll share her story about her ROI on ads, which is astronomical. You wouldn't believe it if I told you anyway, so she's going to tell you, and it's going to be really cool. You're going to get to meet Leticia Gardner. She has over 1 million followers on Instagram, 2 million followers on TikTok, and guess what? She still cares about paid ads. Why? Because just like these huge companies that are spending $100,000 a day, they're not like, "Hey, I made it. I'm out. I'm going to pause all advertising. We would need no more customers." They spend millions. And what's so crazy is like I could still come to you right now and say, "Have you heard of NetPods? Have you heard of Rockport? Have you heard of Revlon?" And some of you would say yes, some of you will still say no. And you're like, "How? How do these people not know?" Because there's a lot of people on the earth, which is actually really good for you because even the companies that have 100 times more money per day to spend on ads than you do at this time, They still advertise and they advertise big because there's just enough for all of us. Okay. So you're going to get to hear how even someone with a great big audience still wants to grow her business, still wants to 10x, still wants to serve more people. You will also get to meet Emily Judice, a client and good friend of mine. She is actually an Amazon bestseller. We were in New York together just a couple months ago, and her book was on Times Square. She has had actually, technically, it was kind of a six-figure day over a few days in her business. So she's going to share that story. And Ernestine Morrison. So she is a famous producer and actress, and she's going to share the method that has led her to be just a disruptor, someone who can capture the attention of the people that are looking for exactly what she has to offer. So these few days are going to be so special. And the thing that I really like, and you may have heard me say this before, is that what we're not doing at the Power of Paid Ads Summit is sharing with you theories that we think would be helpful. We are sharing with you the very methods that have worked, the strategies that are working. And someone asked me the other day, and honestly, I don't blame them. Like, I actually love directness and honesty. I respect it so much. Someone said, "Hey, Ashley, um, can you tell me, like, have you ran ads for anybody other than you? Like, there's so many coaches out there that they're like, hey, this worked for me. I'm going to go teach it to everybody else because I want to make millions and charge people a bunch of money to do this thing when really they don't have the backing or the experience to do so. They saw one thing work one time or a couple times because they took a cheap course and they're like, now I'm going to go monetize this and take what this person taught me and go share it with the world. They want the fruit system without the root system. And so, listen, there are so many people that are scarred from having someone who didn't have that backing, that experience, the roots, the grit, the actual data to say, "Hey, I've done this for so long." So, just in case this is the only podcast episode that you listen to, I've been doing advertising for over a decade. I spent over $200 million on ads. I average spending around 20 grand a month on my own advertising, sometimes more, sometimes less. Definitely more in the last 30 days for me. I think we're at 30 or 40,000 in ads for the summit, which is really cool, which is why we are selling out. It's just because the more people that find you, the more people will buy from you. And especially when you're good at targeting, you can figure out how to get the right people. And obviously, we're going to talk about targeting at the Power of Paid Ad Summit. So we talked about the speakers. We talked about businesses. So you might be wondering, what type of business is the Power of Paid Ad Summit best for? Someone asked me yesterday. She said, "Is this just for coaches?" She has an insurance agency. She is incredible. Her name was Kristen, I believe. And she's grown her business to over seven figures. And she was like, "Hey, is just this just for like coaches?" And no, absolutely not. This is a room filled with small business owners and entrepreneurs. Some have a B2B business, business to business. Some have a B2C, a business to consumer business. Some have online businesses. Some have in-person businesses. Some have local businesses with a brick and mortar and a store where they only serve people in a 15-mile radius. Some are coaches, some are service providers, some are retail stores, some are boutiques, some are interior designers and real estate agents and insurance agents and jewelry companies and attorneys and law firms, nutritionists and dietitians. I could go on and on and on. But if someone is searching for you, you should attend the Power Paid Ad Summit. Like, if you have something adds value to another human's life and you want more people to find you for that automatically, you are exactly who the Power of Paid Ad Summit was created for. And so whether your business is just getting started, because you may have a vision, you may feel trapped right now. You may actually feel trapped in the current job that you have. Maybe you have this dream and you're still in your full-time job and you're like, I have got to figure this out. Like, you feel this burning in your soul and you're like, I know I am so capable. You are. You are. And the environment that you put yourself in matters. Because if you surround yourself in an environment of people who are like, no, 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 you have to make you get a 3% raise every year until you die. Maybe you'll get promoted at this point. It's a slow trajectory. Incorrect. Come to a room where you can 10x your business and actually you can see person after person after person after person who has done it so that you can get encouraged that you can do the very same thing too. So what we're not going to do is have a couple hundreds of us, 300, 400 of us opening our computers and setting up campaigns together. And the reason we're not doing that is because you don't want to go and play, like, let's just do an example for adults. Let's pretend it's a card game. Don't you hate it when someone just says, here's the cards, and they give you like one sentence and they say, just go. You're like, wait, why are we doing this? What's the goal? Whose turn is it? How do we actually win? It's so confusing and chaotic. And you think you just want to just start the game, but you have to have the rules and the strategy. You can't just have the cards. And so what I'm not going to do is just give you this buttons to click. I'm going to give you the strategy and the method and the framework that I do not share outside of a paid environment like this. The business owners, obviously, if you've clicked the link below this video or YouTube channel, there or podcast or YouTube channel, the tickets aren't cheap because we're not doing cheap up in here. If you want a cheap $37 ads course, I'm going to be honest, I'm not for you. And that's okay. That's okay. Because sometimes people don't want to buy Old Navy leggings because when you buy cheap, you buy again. You've heard me say that before, right? So if you want like a quick fix and you want just like the cheapest thing, this event is probably not for you. Now, I do have other recommendations of people that have like cheaper ad courses. I'm happy to share that with you, but this is not that. This is an environment where I really believe that people who pay attention and people who pay more attention. So I know one of the greatest gifts that someone gave me is they asked me to pay what I needed to pay so that I would actually pay attention and get the result. And so it changed my life and my business and my family. And so the freedom that you want financially with your time, the impact you want to have, the legacy you want to leave, all of that is possible on the other side of you pushing your chips in, which is why this is not a $9 or $39 or even $99 ticket to get in this room. Everyone in this room is serious, and I respect the room and I respect you so much that I want to make sure that you are putting yourself in an environment that you get value from outside of even what we're going to learn at the summit. So, what can you expect at the summit? You can expect to learn the strategies, frameworks, and methods that it takes to have ads really perform well. Because if you are scarred because ads didn't go well, or maybe you've just stinking killed it and you grew your business completely organically, and now you're like, okay, I've done this, I would like more. There is nothing wrong with wanting to serve more people. And in my opinion, this is just my personal opinion, I feel like God looks down and just smiles when we serve and impact the lives of more of his children. I just feel like you actually taking the light and the gift that he blessed you with to bless others. I just feel like he looks at that and he smiles and he says, well done. Well done, good and faithful servant. You are taking this gift and changing lives with this. And so I feel so strongly that we are called to serve people with this gift, with this passion that only us, that you uniquely have. So if you want to 10x what you have, even if you have 100,000, a million, 10 million, you belong in the room at the Power of Paid Ads Summit. And I kind of shared this a little bit earlier, but the ingredients that it takes to bake one cake versus 9,000 cakes are the same. So whether you're getting started or you want to scale something, you belong in the room. Someone asked, and she was like, is this just for beginners? And it's absolutely not. You will be able to take this feedback and this advice and be able to apply it to your business to be able to take your business from where it's at to where you want to be, no matter what that looks like. And what's really cool is there are going to be some opportunities for some laser coaching and some feedback at lunches and in person throughout the event. And so you're going to be in conversation with me, the other speakers, and the other business owners in the room to actually get valuable feedback. Because like I said, you're in a room with people who are taking themselves and their business very seriously. They're smart, they're strategic, they're the driven, passionate, let's go, let's learn, let's just be different. Let's be the exception. And, when you think about someone who is an exceptional, it means you are the exception. You do think differently and behave differently and act differently than most other people in the world. That's the room you're going to be in, which is going to be so special. So someone else asked me, she was like, can my husband come? Let's be clear. Men need ads as well. Okay. So if I actually have, I'm joking, but I'm actually not. There's literally a whole like husband club in the room at the Power of Paid Ad Summit because so many of the women I work with, they have husbands with businesses or husbands that they like co-own the business. And so bring them, bring one, bring all. Let's go. It's going to be great. So absolutely bring your husband. It's going to be so good. And okay, so we talked about what if my business isn't big? What types of business is this for? And One other thing, someone asked me, am I going to offer virtual tickets? I'm not. This event is exclusively in person. And the reason I say that is because part of the value of this particular event is the feedback and connections, and you actually getting to be in the room and talk to your ideal clients. And so there's just so much value in that. So I absolutely will not be opening up virtual tickets for this event in particular. The other thing, okay, we talked about, are you going to learn ads? You're going to learn ad strategy, but we are not step by step setting up ads in the room at the Power of Paid Ads Summit. That is something I teach and offer, but it's not going to be what we do at Summit. Let's see. The other thing that someone asked me is she's like, I'm really struggling with the fact that I just want a fresh start. She feels like she is talking to, and she's a designer, like an organizer and designer. She feels like I have tapped out my warm market. I feel like the people who know about me, who follow me, she has a smaller audience. And she's like, I feel like they bought. I feel like I'm talking to the same people. The same people comment on my Instagram reels. The same people are responding to my emails. It's the same people, same group. And she's like, I am just desperate to be able to serve more people. And I feel like I'm trapped in this bucket. And it reminded me, I grew up in a smaller town. My husband grew up in a smaller town. And it's like we all grew up in the same little radius. We kind of felt like we knew everybody. We knew the other teachers and players. I played basketball, so I knew the other players at the other schools, and it just felt like this, and I loved it. There's something so special. It's just about having your community. There's also something so limited about it. It limits you to it limits your revenue, it limits your impact, it limits your influence, and you likely know deep in your heart that you can help so many people, right? And so you actually having a fresh start, in my opinion, is what sets you apart. A fresh start sets you apart. And what's really cool about paid ads is that you get a fresh start every single day. My Instagram messages, 10 to 20 a day, brand new women, brand new people who are ready to scale their six, seven, and sometimes as of late, eight-figure businesses. I'm like, I found the people. I found the people that have the businesses that can take and scale what they have. And so that's what I love about paid ads is you get a fresh start every single day, new people finding you every single day, the right people too, right? You post on Instagram, you hope they find you. With advertising, you are targeting them. I was about to go into the whole lesson I'm gonna teach at Summit, so I'm gonna not do that. But the good news is, if you feel like you're talking to the same people over and over and over again, when you learn how to figure out ads the right way, you get a new audience every single day. The people that are so excited and delighted that they found you in particular, which is really special. All right, so we talked about virtual. The other thing that I wanted to share, and one of the reasons I created the summit, is I felt so lonely. And I've shared this before on other episodes. I just really, the Bible even says, like, what is it? Man's not meant to be alone. I'm like, that applies to everything, period. Like, we are just not meant to be alone. We think that sometimes when we're overstimulated and the kids are crying and the phone's ringing and Voxer's beeping and the email's going off, I'm like, man, I just kind of want to retreat. There's something to be said about having that for 24 hours, but you do not want to continue growing your business without other people who are calling you up and challenging you and encouraging you and giving you new ideas. And I wrote this down. I wrote, when you rely on time alone, it's a slow revenue zone. But when you spend money, you create a land of milk and honey. And when you rely on time alone, like over time, I'll find connections, over time, I'll get in the right rooms. It's different than when you say, I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to put myself in a room so that I'm not alone. I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to get feedback from people that have been where I want to be already. That is how you speed things up. And so that's why being alone and relying on time alone is a slow revenue zone. But when you spend the money, you create a land of milk and honey for your business, for your life, for your finances, for your sanity. And so just simply walking into a space where you feel at home, you're like, oh my God, these people get me. Now, I was never in a sorority. I think, I don't know if I told you this, but my parents gave me two options. They said, if you graduate in the top 10% of your class, we will, like in high school, they were like, our gift to you, because I'm an only child, and my parents were divorced, and they had came together and they had said, If you graduate in the top 10 of your class, we will either buy you a vehicle so that you can be transported around at college, or we will pay for you to be in a sorority. And at the time, I was like, logical. Hello, I need transportation. And I was like, I'll make friends. And great news, I did. I actually did it through playing a lot of intramural sports. That's actually how I met my husband. So the whole point is that I imagine if you were in a sorority that when you walk into the house, you're like, oh, these people, we like speak the same language. Like we get this. And being in communities like that as an entrepreneur for me, just like get me excited to wake up. I'm like, I can't wait to go be a part of this community that I've been able to be a part of through my coaches and honestly through the community that now I've created. They say your pain is your medicine. And so my pain has become the medicine that I've been able to create and give to the business owners I get to work with. And so I know I'm biased. I know that I think, because I'm biased, that my kids are cuter. I think that this event is going to be different and more special than any event you've ever attended. That's my honest opinion. And I just want you to know that if you're considering coordinating and making plans and getting childcare, I don't take it for granted. And I really believe that you'll look back and say you were so glad that you made arrangements to be there. And the parent, the wife, the friend that you will get to be after you come back from the summit, I really believe will be a different person. I believe that the way that you've thought about ads your whole life will be different. I believe you will see opportunities for yourself and your business and your family differently. I believe you will walk away with new connections, potentially new clients, new beliefs, and a new spirit about you. And so that is why I want to invite you into the room at the Power of Paid Ads Summit. The last thing I want to share with you is my coach, Macy, co-founder of the Sales Girls. She said this on a podcast or a YouTube video one time. And she said, indecision is a prison. And what I like to say is indecision is a prison and winners are beginners. Winners begin, they start, they don't sit in indecision. They don't sit in uncertainty. In fact, uncertainty is costly. Every minute that you're questioning yourself and waiting for everybody else to provide validation for you is costing you the time that you could actually be leaning in, getting in the room, taking the action, and doing what you need to do for those people to find you. And in my opinion, the way that you can begin that journey of speeding things up is attending the Power of Paid Ad Summit. So if you have other questions, feel free to Instagram message me. Otherwise, get your ticket below before we sell out because we will. And you're going to get to hear story after story after story and strategy after strategy of the different methods and tools and types of ads that business owners have used to scale their business. And I want to leave you with a story today. This is from Megan Morris. She is a client of mine. And as I record this podcast and YouTube video, it is Friday, December 13th. She sent me this yesterday, Thursday, December 12th at 1:30 p.m. through Facebook Messenger. I'm going to show it to you on YouTube if you're watching. And I'm going to read it to you now because it is really, really special. So Megan owns a company called Woof and Ween. I'm going to have her on the podcast at some point because this win I'm about to share with you is just incredible. Okay. This is why I do what I do. So she sent me this message and she said, "What is life? Girl," in all caps. She said, "I am so glad I found your program. Just look at this. October 12th through November 12th, compared to November 12th to December 12th, 30 days, day over day, my orders and profits have doubled. And I've only been running ads for 3 weeks." Did you hear the whole orders and profits have doubled? Can I get an amen for doubling the profits? Okay. What I can't do is guarantee that in the first month you can double your profits and your revenue. But what I can say is it just happened literally yesterday. And the reason it happened is because Megan understands the method of how to set up paid ads in a way that you know what works and what isn't so that you can stop what isn't or modify it and then lean into what is. All Megan had this business that was great. It was growing. Woof and Ween, look it up, especially if you have a wiener dog. You will love it. She has this method or she has this business and she took the method, one of which that we're going to talk about at the Power of Paid Ad Summit, And by understanding the strategy, she's been able to lean into what is working. And that is why she is sending me a ton of exclamation points after every sentence and capital letters everywhere. And it's possible for you too, especially if you have a business that you know people that provides value to people. And Megan knows that for this specific audience, even a niche online dog company specific to wiener dogs, people want this. And her revenue is huge. And you saw the screenshot. I mean, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars up in here, people. It's huge. So the $40,000 month, the $70,000 month, the $700,000 month, the $7 million month, it's all possible. It's all possible. We're going to talk about it at the Power of Paid Ads Summit. So click the link below, get your ticket, and I cannot wait to see you and meet you there.